People often claim that some chief executive officers display psychopathic traits. We wanted to hear how one executive would respond to that idea. He declined a live interview and asked us to send our questions in writing. A week later, we received this recording.
Do I care about my employees? That's an interesting place to begin. Of course I do. I hire talented people because I want them to succeed, and I hope they build long and rewarding careers. But if you're asking whether I should place one person's interests above the future of the company, then my answer is no. A company exists because it serves customers. If it stops doing that, nobody keeps their job for very long. Sometimes caring means protecting the whole organization instead of one individual. That decision may feel cruel, but avoiding it can be even crueler. Have I ever regretted firing someone? Yes. Usually because I waited too long. Most dismissals are not sudden decisions. They're the end of a long process that everyone hoped would end differently. People often imagine that leaders enjoy firing employees. I've never met one who does. But I have met leaders who delayed necessary decisions because they wanted to avoid feeling uncomfortable. That usually costs even more jobs. What motivates me? Most people expect me to answer money. It's not money. Money keeps score, but it isn't the game. What motivates me is solving problems that most people believe cannot be solved. When thousands of people depend on your decisions, every day becomes a complicated puzzle. I enjoy finding solutions. Success is simply the evidence that the solution worked. Do I ever feel guilty? Of course. Only a fool never questions his own decisions. But guilt is not a decision-making system. If I allowed guilt to make my decisions, I would eventually stop making difficult choices altogether. Reflection is useful. Paralysis is not. A good leader? What makes one? I don't think it's intelligence. There are brilliant people everywhere. A good leader accepts responsibility before accepting praise. When things go well, many people deserve the credit. When things go badly, someone still has to make the next decision. Leadership isn't mostly about confidence. It's about endurance. You continue making decisions even when none of the available options feels good. Do CEOs care more about profits than people? I think that question misunderstands what profit actually is. People often treat profit as if it were greed. Most of the time, profit is survival. Without profit, salaries disappear, research disappears, investment disappears, eventually the company disappears. People don't work for companies that lose money forever. They work for companies that stay alive. What do people misunderstand about me? Probably that difficult decisions are easy because I look calm. Calmness is part of the job. If the captain panics, the passengers panic. You don't pay leaders to display emotions. You pay them to remain useful while everyone else is emotional. That doesn't mean I don't feel anything. It simply means I don't have the luxury of showing it every time.
Whether these answers sound wise, cold, or simply practical is a decision we leave to you. Perhaps the real question was never whether this chief executive officer was a psychopath. Perhaps the more interesting question is this: how much empathy are we willing to sacrifice before leadership becomes something else entirely.